So, what if I told you you're not broken? What if you just have parts that are trying to protect you? See, one of the most healing frameworks I've learned, both as a therapist and spiritual coach, and in my own journey, is internal family systems. And it completely shifted how I understand growth and expansion from both a psychological and spiritual perspective. So, my name is Kara Strum. I'm a licensed therapist and spiritual coach. And today I'm going to talk about internal family systems and how it can be a game changer in your healing journey. So, what is internal family systems, also known as IFS? Well, according to Richard Schwartz, also known as Dick Schwartz, the founder of IFS, he found that you are not one single self. You actually have multiple parts. You know, the part that gets anxious when things feel uncertain, the part that shuts down when you're overwhelmed, the part that people pleases to avoid conflict. But what about the part that criticizes you for not being good enough? See, these parts developed to protect you. And believe it or not, they're doing their best with the strategies they learned. But underneath all those parts, see, there's what we call your core self. And here's what Dr. Schwartz discovered. Your self is never damaged. See, it's always there. It's always calm. It's always compassionate, curious, clear, wise, and most importantly, whole. So the parts I just spoke about end up blocking your access to it when they think you need protection. And so from a spiritual perspective, see, your soul, which is your divine essence at your core, is what I consider yourself. See, it was never broken by what happened to you. And the trauma, the conditioning, the wounds, see, those created protective parts, but they didn't touch your soul, the eternal part of you. So your soul is still whole, it's still wise, it's still connected to God, source, creator. And so here's where psychology and spirituality meet from my perspective. So from a psychological standpoint, see, you're not your anxiety. You are not your depression. You are not your anger. See, those are just parts. However, you are the self, the one who can witness all of it with compassion. And so from a spiritual perspective, you're not your ego, and you are not your wounds, and you are not your story. See, you are the soul, the divine witness beneath all of it. And so what both are really saying is that you are already whole. You just forgot. And so how this might show up in your life is maybe you have an anxious part that catastrophizes everything, right? Where you think of the worst possible case scenario. So in traditional therapy, you might try to fix the anxiety or get rid of it. Well, in IFS, here's a very shortened version, you would ask the anxious part, what are you afraid will happen if you stop protecting me this way? And it might say, well, if I don't worry about everything, something terrible will happen and you won't be prepared. And so as you might be able to tell, see, that part is trying to keep you safe, but it just doesn't know that the danger is over or that there isn't any danger at all in the present and that it's perceived and it's a possibility that may have a low probability of happening. So you, from your self energy, your soul, can say to that part, thank you for trying to protect me. I've got this now. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. And see, that's when healing occurs, not by eliminating the part, but by letting yourself lead and unburdening the part that feels scared and worried. So the shift happens where before IFS work, you might over identify with your parts and believe, I am anxious, and therefore there's something wrong with me. I need to fix myself. And after IFS work, you might have the belief that I have a part that feels anxious. That part is trying to protect me, but I, myself, am still whole beneath it. And see, that's the difference between being consumed by your parts and leading from yourself. And so why this matters for expansion is because you might think spiritual growth means getting rid of your lower emotions or transcending your human parts, but it doesn't. It means accessing yourself, your soul, and letting it lead. And so your parts don't disappear. They just stop running the show. And when you're in self energy, right, you're in what Dr. Schwartz calls the 8 C's: calm, curious, compassionate, clear, confident, creative, courageous, and connected. See, that's what some might say is being in alignment with source. And so When you notice a strong emotion or pattern, I invite you to pause and ask, what part of me is activated right now? Don't judge it. Get curious about it and ask that part, what are you trying to protect me from? What do you need from me? And then drop into yourself, right? That calm, wise presence underneath that might come out when you're giving wise counsel to a friend. And then respond to that part with compassion. So you're not fixing yourself, you're remembering the wholeness that was always there. So this is how you heal and expand, by developing a new relationship with your parts where the self, the soul, leads with compassion. And so you are not your trauma. You are not your patterns. You are not your parts. You are the self, the soul, witnessing all of it. And see, that self, it was never broken. And so my hope is that this will provide a different perspective with how you relate to yourself. And so if you found this helpful and you want to go deeper with this type of work, I encourage you to find a therapist trained in internal family systems that can support you on your journey. Psychology Today is a great place to start. So with that, I hope you found this helpful. Take care.